Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany Benson, one part of Team Benson, and it's an exciting day because we hit our goal of 2.5 subscribers here on YouTube. So I just want to say a big thank you guys to everybody that has supported our channel. Like, it has been growing over the past couple of years, and just really seeing it kind of take off has been really cool. So it's like my garden's growing a lot and expanding a lot, and so is our subscribers, which is really exciting. So it's a really fun thing for me to be able to grow with you guys, talk to you guys about your gardens, issues that you might be having, or you guys even giving advice to me on my garden. It's really fun to be a part of this community. So I'm excited because we are going to be doing our medicinal seed giveaway. So what I want you guys to do to enter, and I'll talk to you guys about this in the beginning just in case you don't want to know how to preserve herbs, you'll know how to enter the giveaway. But what you want to do is you want to just comment down below what is your favorite medicinal herb. You can name one, you can name multiple, but you guys talking to each other and naming these herbs also help people realize just how many medicinal herbs there are out there. So comment down below, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already, but then comment down below what's your favorite medicinal herb, and that will enter you to win. I'm going to be picking a winner on, let's say, Monday's video when I do my garden tour. So let's talk about preserving herbs. Now, when it comes to preserving herbs, which you guys watch me pick a lot of my different herbs in the last video, which if you haven't seen that one, I will link that one down below. But I talked to you guys about cooking with culinary herbs and that they do have medicinal purposes, which that will be in tomorrow's video. But what happens when you're preserving, or how do you preserve them, is one of the biggest questions that I got, because a lot of people said, yes, I'm learning to cook with them, but I don't know how to preserve them in a way to keep them longer because I have so many of them. Because one thing that I always tell people when everybody says, I have pest pressure in my garden, how come you don't have pest pressure in your garden? Say that 10 times fast. The one thing I tell everybody is because I prune my garden. My motto is, if you don't eat it, something else will. So I prune my herb bed a lot, one, because I'm using it a lot, but two, because I want to keep down the whiteflies, which is majority of what I get in my herb bed. Later on in the season, I'll probably get caterpillars. Now, there will become a point in time where I will just let my herb bed go wild, and that's because I want it to be able to be there for the butterflies to lay all their little caterpillar babies and for the host to be able to reproduce. For those of you guys that don't know, if you have dill that you're not using anymore, let it go to flower, because the monarch butterfly is something that is really having a hard time here in Arizona. So for those of us that can help it out, let's help it out together. So this is what I mean by keeping your herb bed healthy. Now, when I was over here filming the last video, I could wave my hand around the herbs and I would see a lot of whiteflies. And now I don't see anything. They're all gone. So by keeping your bed completely healthy and making sure there's no bad leaves in there, and that each herb can breathe and has space to breathe, like the Chervil is no longer taking over everything, or that one isn't, that sage now has a chance to see the light, start getting a lot healthier than what it is, because as you can see, the variegated sage is not doing as well as the purple sage or the garden sage, and it's because the Chervil was covering it up. So now that it has just some airflow and some nice spacing, it'll continue to grow healthy without pest. So now you're probably saying to yourself, okay, I trimmed back my garden and this is an aggressive amount of herbs, which a lot of times it is. I have a ton of Chervil inside, way more than I need to cook with for yesterday's dinner and even today's dinner. So now we're going to talk about preserving, so we're going to head inside to the kitchen. Okay guys, so now we're back in the kitchen and I'm going to talk to you about the best way to preserve herbs. Now, I do it in several different ways. We will first talk about how I freeze them, because there's one thing you'll learn is that herbs defrost really quickly. So the first thing I do with them is I take a cookie sheet and I lay a piece of parchment paper on it, and then after letting the herbs dry, so I wash them and then let them dry on a drying mat. Once they're dry, then I lay them out on the cookie sheet and I just simply dry them in the freezer, or freeze them in the freezer. So all I do, this is some dill, is I just lay them out flat and then I freeze it until it's completely frozen. And then once it's completely frozen, I quickly take it, put it in a bag, Ziploc the bag, and then I put it back in the freezer. Now this will thaw out really, really quickly. So I'm actually gonna go put it back. It thaws out so quickly and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't gonna clump back up. So I put it back in the freezer quickly. But all you do is you take it, you let it lay on like a plate or anything like that, and it thaws out pretty quickly, and then you can just use it as normal. Now it's not gonna be completely how it was when it was fresh, but it will be, it'll be like a little mushy if you chop it up. But if you're just taking it and just kind of breaking it up, it pretty much is like it was when it came out of the garden. Now the next way you can do it, depending on how you want to use your herbs, is you can freeze it in a cube of water. So all I did with this cilantro, since I plan to make salsa with it, is I just freeze it in a cube of water. I shove a bunch of cilantro in there as tight as I can in each little section, and then I just fill it with water and I freeze it. And then after that, once I need it, I just take out the cubes that I need to make my salsa, and it adds a little bit of water to my salsa that I like to kind of take the peppers down, and it also just puts the fresh cilantro in there. So if you're going to be like blending it or anything like that, another way you can put it in like an ice cube is if you're making like your chimichurria that I was talking about. You can make a big batch of chimichurria, put it in different little ice cubes, just freeze them, and then when you need it, just take it out and thaw it out in a pan or thaw it out on the counter, and then use your chimichurria that way. The last way I love to do it is by making butters, little butter balls. So essentially I'll just take my butter and make it, or let it sit at room temperature so it's soft, and then I will just add my herbs to it. If you guys can see, that one has dill in it. I do that with dill mainly. That's one of the biggest things I do with my dill. And then I also do it with my chives too as well. So then that way when I'm cooking, if I'm doing fish or anything like that, or scallops, I can just take a dill butter ball, throw it in there, and then put the whole thing in the oven. Or if I'm doing mashed potatoes, then I can just thaw out the, in a pan, the butter chive sauce, and then put that over top of the potatoes when I'm getting ready to mix them up to get ready to serve them. Now the last way I like to preserve my herbs is by drying them. Now I live in a desert that always seems to get sand everywhere. So instead of drying my herbs just like hang drying them, because I feel like they just get dusty and sandy, I dry them in a dehydrator, and I just dry them until they're crisp. This is some sweet marjoram. So I dry them until they're crisp, which they smell amazing. If you guys have never dried your own herbs, they're gonna smell so much more potent than if you were to buy them at the store. Because at the store, they might have been there for God knows how long. But when you dry your own herbs, you know exactly when they were grown and exactly when they were dried. And you get the most flavor from your own dried herbs. So I dry mine in a dehydrator. And all I do is, once again, wash them. I let them dry completely so that there's no water going into the dehydrator, because that will make the process longer. And then I just lay them out in my dehydrator, which if you don't have a dehydrator, I'll put a link down to the one that I have down in the description below. And then I just let them dry. And then once they're dry, I let them cool all the way down, because they are gonna be a little warm coming out of the dehydrator. So I just unplug the dehydrator, let it cool all the way down, and then I just put them in a mason jar, or I grind them up and I make seasonings. So this makes life so much easier, making your own pre-made seasonings. And all you can do is take whatever proportions you like. I worked a lot with trying to figure out how many things I kind of like to mix together, what proportions I liked for them mixed together, so then it made it quick and easy that when I know that I'm gonna make spaghetti sauce, I just grab the one that says basil, oregano, and salt. And it has an even amount that I like that works best for me when I'm making my spaghetti sauce. Same thing, I combined basil, thyme, and oregano. If I want to put that on chicken or anything like that, I can just toss it on there, and there you have it. So I hope that gives you guys some great ideas on how you can preserve your herbs that are coming from your garden, because you're probably going to get to a point to where there's an abundance of them and you don't know what to do with them. So cook with them and preserve with them so that then you can start making recipes for later. So don't forget, comment down below what is your favorite medicinal herb so that you can enter into our giveaway. But until next time, grow yourselves a garden, because even a small space can provide you with tons of food. Bye guys.